Right, it's 7 minutes past 9 o'clock. Don't worry, you're just right in time for the latest development across the country and within our borders. This is the 27th day of May, the year 2025. Indeed, it's a lot that is happening in our nation, and of course, because it's about the state of the nation, tonight we want to take a look at the state of the economy. And let me bring you into perspective for the better part of the day, today, and of course, yesterday. This is the third day of the public participation as far as the finance bill of 2025-2026 is concerned. The members of public are giving their proposals in regard to what they would want to be included or omitted in the finance bill of 2025. Now, so this is what you need to know as far as this bill is concerned. Now, the total estimate for the budget for the financial year 2025-2026 stands at 4.2 trillion. That is the country's biggest budget yet to be recorded. So, critical questions now is the method to finance this finance bill of 2025, and of course the various ways of the ways at which these funds will be spent. Now let's take a look at the financing aspect of this. Now this finance bill, or rather to finance this ambitious budget, the government uses various sources to finance its operation within the stipulated year, which include from the year 2025 to the year 2026. And these methods include revenues and loans and of course grants. In this financial year, of course, the government targets a total of estimated revenue of 3.3 trillion that will come in form of income tax. We have value added tax, then, or if you prefer the acronym VAT, then we have import duty, excess duty, then appropriation in aid and other taxes. Now these are the various methods. And remember, this is the biggest chunk of contributors to this 4.2 trillion budget that the government plans to source it from various sources. We have talked about taxes that will be used, and under this we have the income tax, we have the import, and of course excess duty in regard to this and other taxes. Now there is another critical avenue that the government will use to collect these taxes. Talking about now, the government targets to collect at least that is to collect at least additional 46.9 billion from loans and grant. Remember, a grant are essentially gifts that do not need to be paid back, while loans are financial obligations that must be repaid with an interest over a period of time. It could be 1 year, 3 months, depending on the agreement between now the lender and of course the borrower. And that is another critical aspect and avenue that the government plans to use to finance this the 4.2 trillion budget for the year 2025-2026. That is the financial year that the budget we expect will be read on the 12th day of June, very soon, just to bring us up into perspective of what to expect and just breaking the nitty-gritties, what will be allocated in each department and of course ministries. But for now, this is the estimated target and the various ways that the government plan to actually collect these funds so that they can finance the activities and the operations of government for the next 1 year. That begins, the financial year for the government begins every June of every year. And of course, now we have another critical aspect. Remember, when you add now the revenues and of course the loans and grants and other taxes, now we still have a loophole, or rather we call it a shortfall of 876 billion. This is deficit after sourcing for all this estimated revenue. Now the government will still be short of 876 billion. This is what we call a deficit in business terms. So basically, it's a deficit. A deficit occur when a government spending exceeds its revenue over a specific period, usually 1 year. Now, so those are the ways that the government plans to actually, source for the funds to finance this 4.2 trillion budget for the financial year 2025. Now let's look at the expenditure. Where will this money be used? Now, the national government will get the lion's share of 4.9 trillion that will be shared in the three arms of government. That is the executive, the judiciary, and of course the parliament. Now, we have another 1.1 trillion that will be used to servicing debt, and part of this 1.1 will be used to service, that is domestic debt, that will go into paying domestic debt, while 246 billion will be used to service foreign debt, while 405 billion will be shared among the 47 county government. So that is how the government is planning to share these revenues. And remember, we have other parameters that we'll be discussing later on as far as the finance bill of 2025 is concerned. So this is just a nutshell of the proposed budget, and of course the various mechanisms that government plan to raise these funds, and the ways, or rather the means, or which department, how this money will be used to run various operations within the stipulated time, that is the financial year of 2025 going all the way to 2026. And this will be forming part of our discussion and of course our subsequent bulletin tonight. But remember, our reporters have been up and down to bring you up to speed with the latest in the world of politics, talk business, sports, and this is what to expect. Abductions now. Opposition leaders call for an end to abductions and extrajudicial killings. Who is fooling who? Police IG says no evidence of abduction as Koimburi's family insists police were behind his abduction. Also tonight, a house on divide. Emotions ran high in parliament as MPs clash over Gashagua's sentiment regarding 207 post-election violence. Connecting Isiolo to Kulamawe, Modogashe to Samatar, construction of Isiolo-Mandera Highway begins.
This is KUTV Primetime News with Auma Evans.
All right, my co-pilot tonight is Naomi Ombui, and remember you can talk to us on all of our social media platforms. We are coming to you live on YouTube at KUTV News Live. You can tweet us on X at KUTV_Kenya. You can also tweet me or tag me along at Auma Evans. The hashtag to use, State of the Nation. So tonight we begin the State of the Nation with the latest development. Now, the opposition leaders, led by Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, have condemned the rising cases of abductions witnessed in the country, terming them as gross violation of human rights. Speaking during a press briefing at Karen Hospital in Nairobi, they condemned the recent abduction and assault of Juja Member of Parliament George Koimburi, calling for urgent investigation into the matter.
Senior opposition leaders including Kalonzo Musyoka, DAP party leader Eugene Wamalwa, and former Chief Justice Justin Muturi gathered at Karen Hospital to decry what they described as a disturbing trend of enforced disappearances targeting both political figures and ordinary citizens. The opposition leader stressed that Koimburi's case is not an isolated incident, but part of a broader systematic pattern of disappearances. They accused the Kenya Kwanza government of fostering a climate of fear and insecurity, warning of its potential to destabilize the nation further.
Despite our persistent calls to end arbitrary arrests, abductions, gross violation of human rights, and extrajudicial killings, the Ruto administration seems to be on a race to the bottom. That is to anarchy. In recent days, the country has been plunged into a disturbing pattern of political repression and targeted violence.
Kenya leader Eugene Wamalwa criticized telecommunication companies for failing to address privacy breaches that facilitate abductions, urging them to take proactive measures to safeguard citizens.
And so we have one instrument, Constitution of Kenya 2010. And all public officers, from William Ruto to the police constables, must know that be held accountable under the Constitution.
The opposition leaders demanded immediate investigations into Koimburi's abduction and similar cases, calling for transparency and accountability within government and security agencies. They warned that failure to address these violations risk deepening political instability, enrolling public confidence, and undermining democratic institutions. Elimelech Mudori, KUTV.
All right, still matters abductions. Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja has refuted claims that Juja Member of Parliament George Koimburi was kidnapped. According to Kanja, investigations conducted by police intelligence officers revealed inconsistencies in the narrative, including the authenticity of a video allegedly showing Koimburi being dumped in a coffee plantation. Rajab Juma reports.
In the wake of alarming reports of Juja MP George Koimburi's alleged abduction, Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja today dismissed the claims. He stated that investigations by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations DCI found no evidence of an incident in the coffee field where Koimburi was purportedly found, as the landowner confirmed no such event occurred on their property.
Police officers from Juja swiftly responded, visiting the alleged scene and thoroughly documenting the area. Upon comparing vegetations and road dimensions at the scene with those in the video, it was established that the two did not match.
Speaking at a press briefing, Kanja revealed that Koimburi is under investigation by the DCI over land fraud allegations. He noted that the vehicle used to transport Koimburi belonged to the MP himself, and the sole witness to the events was Koimburi's driver, which he declared as highly unusual.
And particularly, Honorable George Koimburi, whom we shall interview at the earliest opportunity after his family objected to our attempts to reach him. This progress underscores the National Police Service commitment to uncovering the truth regarding the abduction allegations with the highest standards of professionalism and diligence.
Kanja added that further investigations will proceed once Koimburi regains consciousness, as attempts to question him have been unsuccessful due to resistance from his family.
We assure all Kenyans that we are committed to conducting the investigations with utmost diligence to uncover the truth behind these allegations. Further updates will be provided as the investigations progresses.
George Koimburi, a known ally of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, was discovered with severe injuries, sparking widespread speculation about the motives behind the incident. Critics suggest the government may be using such tactics to silence dissent, raising serious concerns over escalating abduction and murder cases. Rajab Juma, KUTV.
Thank you, Rajab Juma, for that comprehensive reporting. Now, President William Ruto has called upon the coastal leaders to remain united in their efforts to realize the government's ambitious agenda. The president emphasized on collective collaboration to drive national development plan. The leaders present pledged their unwavering support for the president, affirming their commitment to working alongside him to deliver their mandates.
To assure you of our utmost support. Sisi tutafanya kazi ile ambayo umetupatia to better the lives and to unite the people so that we all can prosper.
Sisi mawaziri wawili hapa pamoja na Speaker Kingi tunashirikiana na hawa viongozi wote na tutaendelea kushirikiana tukuunge mkono mambo ya 27. Hiyo sisi Kwale tunasema ni tolwa.
Sisi nataka utushike ukijua sisi ni wenzako sasa, ni wenzako 2027, ni wenzako kwenda mbele. Hilo ni jambo la kwanza.
Our economy is good, and that is the reason why today we can now discuss how to build the roads. That is why we can even do the securitization, because we can go to the market and borrow at reasonable rates. There was no way we would have gone to the market if our economy had, if we had defaulted.
Now, the construction of the 750-kilometer Isiolo-Mandera Highway connecting Isiolo to Kulamawe to Modogashe to Samatar, all the way to Ajia to Tarbaj to Kotulo to Kobo, connecting to Elwak to Mandera town, has officially begun. The road, which will cost taxpayer a whopping 100 billion shillings, has been split into 11 sections and awarded different contractors, and is expected to be completed within 2 years.
Angalia sehemu mbili. Kwanza Isiolo Kulamawe ambaye ni takriban kilomita 77 na inagharimu shilingi bilioni 8.3, na tayari lami imeanza kujengwa na hii sehemu itakamilika ifikapo Mei mwaka wa 2027. Barabara hii itaboresha usalama, pia itaboresha uchumi wa sehemu hii ambao kwa muda mwingi imebaki nyuma kwa sababu ya kukosa miundo msingi sana ya barabara, lakini vile vile miundo msingi ya stima na network ya simu.
Now, the Departmental Committee on the Finance Bill and the National Planning has entered the 4th day of the public hearing of the Finance Bill 2025. And as Brenda Nyongesa reports, the hearings are part of a 2-week effort to gather public and stakeholders' input on proposed tax measures and fiscal policies in the bill. The committee, chaired by Molo Member of Parliament Kuria Kimani, aims to ensure broad participation and transparency in the process.
Certain concerns that we have with the bill. So I'll hand over to John and Celia to continue. Thank you so much, Chair.
The ongoing public hearings have drawn submissions from numerous stakeholders, with discussions centered on key areas such as virtual asset taxation and tax incentives.
Let us retain withholding tax to be due to the exchequer.
A notable topic from today's session was the proposed reduction of the tax rate on virtual asset transactions. Stakeholders suggested taxing only gains rather than each transaction. Additionally, there was strong calls to zero-rate VAT on electric motorcycles, bicycles, and solar batteries to encourage green energy adoption.
Last year, they introduced e-teams. In this bill, there's a very good provision. Section 43 of the Finance Bill is proposing some exclusions from e-teams. These exclusions are payments for imports, payments of interest, etc. So our prayer today is that our industry be included in some of those exemptions, and some complexities in our industry that make it very difficult to actually implement. The first thing is the volumes. We generate millions of invoices every day. Big items that affect our industry are the motorcycles of tariff heading 8711.600 and electric bicycles.
We safeguard the data belonging to our clients to the taxpayers, and this is more of a broader implication, has a broader implication, because the data being held is sensitive, is personal in nature, and opening up the provision of personal data, whether to the regulators or the tax authority, can, in some instances, be subject to misuse.
Committee Chair Kuria Kimani emphasized the government's commitment to enhancing inclusivity through digitalized public participation. He noted that the virtual engagement platform has enabled more Kenyans to contribute their views and avoid the backlash faced during last year's finance bill process.
Let us retain withholding tax to be due to the exchequer, KRA for that matter, at the point at which we make payment. With regard to the area of exemption, Chair, that refers to organizations, non-profit organizations in particular, that are allowed tax exemption. It was not referring to personal taxes, just to those ones.
The hearing are expected to continue for several more days, after which the committee will present its recommendations to Parliament. This finance bill aims to generate at least 24 billion shillings through streamlined tax measures to support national development while minimizing the burden on essential consumer goods. To further encourage public engagement, the National Assembly has introduced a scannable code allowing citizens to provide clause-by-clause input on the bill.
I'll hand over to John and Celia to continue. Thank you so much, Chair.
Brenda Nyongesa, KUTV.
Now, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua found himself at the center of a storm. His recent remarks sparking fierce backlash across the political divide. And as our senior political affairs reporter Emmanuel Kutosi reports, Gachagua was the order of business for better part of the evening session in the National Assembly as legislators pelted dissenting submissions over his utterances.
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua dominated the evening session in the National Assembly as legislators fiercely criticized his recent remarks.
Because the devil is never good for your family, neither your siblings and Kenyans. And if the devil is trying to talk to us, we must rebuke it in the spirit and using the name of Jesus Christ, that the devil must be good.
Tempers flared and passions ran high in the chambers as the MPs took aim at the political heavyweight whom they once drew from the second highest office in the land.
You do not deserve to be a leader anywhere. Honorable Speaker, this is somebody who now pontificates as if he's God.
The MPs referred to a recent media interview in which Gachagua claimed that if the upcoming elections are rigged, the ensuing chaos would make the 2007 post-election violence look like a Christmas party.
Na mimi nataka nimwambie Gachagua, hii nchi si yako wewe peke yako. Usipotoshe wa Kenya, ulikuwa katika serikali. Ulikuwa ukituambia wewe ndio mlinzi wa mlango. Ulikuwa ukituambia vitu vinavyofanyika viko sawa. Leo hii kwa utepetevu wako uko nje.
It's about him. Honorable Speaker, I think it's about time that we advise him to see a psychiatrist, Honorable Speaker. He needs to see a doctor. He needs to do his mental check, Honorable Speaker. And I think doctors here should...
His statement touched a raw nerve in Kenya's political history, the 2007 election violence, which claimed over 1,000 lives and displaced more than 650,000 people, triggered by a flawed electoral process and incendiary political rhetoric.
He came to as great a disaster as we possibly could, and it took the backing down of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga for us to continue as a state and as a nation. No one should refer to those events, and to do so is dangerous.
The election, the appointment of managers of election, Kivuitu said he did not know who won the election. We went into war. If Baba Raila Amolo Odinga did not restrain himself in 2022, when the Cherera said said this was not an election properly done, would have done into abyss.
While some lawmakers slammed Gachagua's remarks, on which the National Cohesion and Integration Commission termed reckless, others urged caution in the ongoing search for a credible and competent electoral body.
I beseech you, I beseech the country, please remember the message, regard the messenger. You have already killed the messenger. I'm so surprised that men are running helter-scared of one single man who has got no vote, who has nothing.
The heated debate saw some legislators walk out of the chambers as calls intensified for stern action against the former deputy president, now a member of the opposition.
There are things we don't joke about around with, Madam Speaker. There are things we don't politic around with. And one of them is the peace and security of this country.
Emmanuel Kutosi, KUTV.
What is an interesting time to live in Kenya? The latest unfolding about the utterances that were made by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua regarding the trust and the mistrust in the newly, shall I say, appointed, or rather the team to be appointed, should they see the light of the day, and just airing out some of his reservations about the team, and just in spite of that, he might have rubbed others the wrong shoulders, and that is the discussion that was going on in Parliament, a very heated one. And remember, this will also forming the part of our discussion tonight in the State of the Nation with my guest, Muredi Alex, Executive Director of Mark B Foundation, just to bring us up to speed with the latest unfolding from the politics of handout to the abduction and, of course, to the backlash. All this will be packed into one session, State of the Nation. Stay tuned for that.
Various aspects are affecting our planet. The major one, climate change. And right here on Earth Check is where we look at various matters of this nature.
After perennial droughts and flooding affected his farming activities, the father of 9 says the new venture has improved his circumstances.
Ninahisi kwamba I feel like it has transformed my life in a big way. It gives me an income which helps in the upkeep of my family.
My name is Emmanuel Kutosi, and welcome to yet another episode of Earth Check.
Access to knowledge. Solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
If and all, only law matters.
Ni nguzo na uso wa jamii. Kupanda shuka, akawa tuzo. Ukakamavu wake, ukatii na kumfanya mwenye bidii. Kwa machozi na makeke, akabaini jinsi ya kuwini. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari, kwa jinsi alivyo ng'ari-ng'ari. Mimi ni mwanamke mwake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake, nami Caroline Kimwele.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Auma Evans.
All right, thank you for keeping it state of the nation. So this is where we begin our conversation, where I take a look at matters politics and everything in between. What a week it has been, from the politics of handout to the rhetorics and the politics of give it all. It was a moment of leaning back and, of course, straightening and aiming directly at your opponent. I'm talking about the battle of the deputies. One is former deputy Rigathi Gachagua and the current deputy Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki. Well, Gachagua accused leaders who are siding with Kindiki of betraying the community, and he even went a step further and asked the people to boycott the event of musicians who attended Kindiki's function at Karen, and that did not sit well with Kindiki, who was breathing fire, coming out gun blazing at former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, and that was the battle of the deputies in that regard. And of course, let me just usher in my guest tonight in this discussion, Alex Brady. Asante sana for making time.
Thank you very much, Evans, also for having me tonight.
All right. So straight to it, Alex. Yes. The latest unfolding on Sunday that we witnessed Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki coming out gun blazing against the sentiments that were made by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua regarding some of the musicians who actually visited him in his current home. Well, when you look at the latest unfolding between the two, what do you read into this?
Thank you very much, Evans, for having me tonight to share about whatever that is happening in our country. To start with, whatever you have asked me about the latest thing that maybe transpired last week and maybe over the weekend, we see the both parties reacting against each other. Maybe first of all, let me make it clear to avoid doubt that whatever that is happening, it is nothing new. You see, on the issue that these musicians went to the home of the current deputy president, who was not elected, he was just selected out of maybe the resignation or maybe the impeachment of the former president Rigathi Gachagua. You see, this is just a strategy, like any strategy that can politicians use so that they can gather the popularity that they deserve or maybe they want. First of all, let us make it clear in our analysis. This government has actually lost the popularity. You see, whatever that is happening in our country, there is a lot that is speculating. The government now is now trying to save a sinking ship, or a sinking ship that they themselves they have actually caused whatever that is happening. So whatever that Mr. Kindiki or maybe the current deputy president is trying to do, it is now trying to show that they have the confidence on their strategy that they have chosen. Actually, for your information, Mr. Evans, almost all the musicians who went on that event, they actually came out back after they had gone there. They said they will never repeat that. And they said they will actually side with the people. Because as at now, the people have said and have made it clear, they are actually fully oppressed. So the government should not try and get such strategies. Instead of dishing out money and giving out money unnecessarily, they should utilize this money and buy doctors, maybe they buy medicine and maybe bring on development. That is the only way that they can revert the status quo. But unless they do that, there is no strategy that is
well, Alex, one might argue that in our constitution, the freedom of association, of course, is enshrined in our constitution. And what is the crime of Deputy President Kithure Kindiki actually hosting musicians from Mount Kenya region? Do you think probably the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua might have went overboard on this issue? Why issue an ultimatum to people who, out of their own free will, decided to visit the sitting deputy president, be it politics or even developmental, mission, whatever it is. The Constitution guarantees the freedom of association. We are a free country. Do you think probably that was a step a little bit too higher when you talk about curtailing the freedom of expression and association?
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, you have, the Constitution, our Constitution, actually allow the freedom of association, whereby anybody of any caliber should associate, so long as it is an association that is actually of good interest and of good benefit to the people. It is actually very much encouraged. But as per now, let us not try to get analogies to explain the status quo. Whatever that the government is doing is deliberate. The issues at hand are actually evident. The reason as to why the deputy president, you see, Evans, as at now, there is a rampant of this mobilization and fundraising. Just the other day, these things are happening, and in one region of our country. So there is an objective about this thing. So whatever that is happening, the government should not try to get escape goods. They want now to tag along everybody so that maybe they can try to paint a positive picture. So about the Constitution, I can say maybe Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, out of his choice of words that he normally uses, might have gone so much astray. But the fact is, whatever that the government is trying to do, there is no way we can be giving a few money to people who then should come and influence the whole population. The thing is, that is not the right way to handle the challenges that the Kenyans are facing. To Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, out of his selection of words, he shouldn't actually try to maybe make people appear like if they are going against the Constitution. Let us actually make it clear that whatever that we are going to do, or maybe whatever that is being done, it is acting for the better and the best interest of our people.
All right. Well, now the issue that is emerging out is the politics of handout. Well, the deputy president has been on a mission, and most of the time he has been in the Mount Kenya region trying to what he will call like empowering the community out there. And this has not sit well with some of the critics who argue that these funds should have been put into a credible and probably a meaningful purpose. I heard you mention like building hospitals and things like that. Well, do you think probably, as they say, that the government through Deputy President Kithure Kindiki is actually trying to consolidate the region that is seem to have been drifting out of their grasp? I'm talking about Mount Kenya region, with this now the gift that is synonymous. And by the way, it's not only in Mount Kenya region. Recently he was in Kisii, and we saw similar trend happening. So do you think this is just a political strategy to try and woo a region that has been drifting away, or indeed it's a development tour just trying to empower communities across the country?
Thank you very much, Evans. You see, you have actually stated it. It is actually a strategy to try and win back this very region. You know, it is actually just a logical, and it's a fact that the mountain region, it is rich of the votes. And now President Ruto and his government and his diehards, they have seen like they already messed up. So they are trying all the means possible to maybe win back this very region. First of all, let me make it clear that the citizens in our country, everybody, all corners of our country, are having a lot of challenges. The education system, as we speak, is at now, our potential, or maybe our candidates, for those who will be sitting for the examination this year, the national examination, we are not sure whether they will do the examination because we have speculation that they have not been funded. Hospitals, there are no medicines. Actually, right now, I have just seen the doctors in Kiambu County have actually down their tools and they are on a strike. Reason being, they are not being considered. Yet, this very government is trying and tell us that they are doing good things. Yet, the very real issues that they should tackle, they are not doing them. There is no way a government can be having monies to give out to people and they are not actually implementing whatever that they were elected to do. So for me, I feel this strategy is just being used to popularize and to confuse the Kenyans, to try and just hide them from the reality, to show them like the government is trying to do anything, yet it is doing nothing. So the deputy president should not focus on doing these harambees and fund drives. He should actually go to the project themselves. Let them do things that should be evident that people can see. But this issue about tagging along celebrities and making them try to win the crowds to them, it is not going to work this time round. Kenyans are now alert. They can see, they can actually understand what the government is doing.
Okay, when you look at the both divide, the government and the opposition, it's fair to say right now the country is in a full swing of campaign, the political campaign. The 2027 alignment is out there, and it is imperatively important to pay attention to all the details, what is happening and what is happening around us. The oppositions, of course, fire back at the government. The government says stop early political campaigns. We have slogans like Kazi Bila Break. When you look at the political temperature in the country, do you think probably our culture of always after every electioneering period, we jump straight to another political circle of now trying to see if maybe we can marshal something for ourselves as we prepare for the next electioneering period? Do you think this is what has really, messed up our country in terms of what you're seeing? We have underlying problems like problems in the healthcare. We have education issues that we still need to iron out. We have development projects and, of course, agenda that the government gave to people that still, up to this particular point, some might not have been implemented fully. Do you think the focus should now shift to what can actually develop and transform the lives of ordinary Kenyans than these political rhetorics that we are seeing?
Thank you very much, Evans, for that very question. You see, this government of President William Ruto, down the line, 2 years down the line, not much can be said that they have done. Actually, to be more specific,
right. Okay, now we are having that, that is a technical hitch-up, and we were talking to Mr. Alex Muredi, just giving us his perspective in regard to the state of the nation, where a lot is really happening. And of course, Alex, if you can get me, a lot is indeed happening in our political space. The country is in early campaign mood, and this should actually concern ordinary citizen. Let me just get your perspective on this one pretty quick, Alex. What's your take on this?
My take on this is that the government should, still there is time to do the development. You see, the government has already failed. It feels like it has failed. And now because it can't manage to rectify the mistake that they have done, now they have now transitioned immediately to the campaign period with just deploying strategies and making sure they have aligned themselves on how they will actually clinch back to power come 2027.
Okay.
So the thing is, the government should consider and prioritize the matters as per the first things.
Okay.
Let them stop trying to confuse the Kenyans. We have a lot that is happening. Actually, every day, Evans, in our country, we have a new thing. Something that is not working, something else is not working. Every day there is nothing that this government will say it have worked to completion. So up to when will we talk and say that this government has done something? So the thing is, this government, as we speak right now, it doesn't deserve to be in power.
Okay.
That is what they have proved. So even come 2027, they should not be given a room of clinching back to power.
All right, because we are running out of time, and I just want to get your perspective on this one pretty quick. Now, the abduction. Well, we have the opposition saying that the government is the perpetrator of these abductions that have been witnessed in the country. Now, today, the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, issued a statement and said that there is no evidence to indicate that actually police were involved in this abduction when it comes to the abduction of, the alleged abduction of Juja Member of Parliament, George Koimburi. What's your take on this? Who is fooling who? And where is the truth in this matter?
Yeah, first of all, Evans, right now we don't have faith with our government. Actually, our government has failed us on its first core objective of protecting its citizens. We have seen in the recent past the government being in the forefront of abducting not just citizens, even its members of parliament who are actually opposing it. So it is actually very heartbreaking that you saw the video of a member of parliament, somebody who works with security guards. Then what could we be talking of just a mere citizen like any other? Also on the same note, we have just been having brutal killings. Like 2 priests have been killed in the recent past. So what is this government trying to tell us? Yet it can't even deliver the simple task of protecting. Yet they have all the state machineries. So the government will stop fooling Kenyans. If they are of the agenda of threatening and selling fear to the people, they should know that we as the citizens, we are tired, we are fed off, and we are not going to fear. They will kill some, but they will not kill all of us.
All
they
right.
will fool some people, but they will never fool all of us.
Okay, fair enough. Muriithi Alex, Executive Director, Mark B Foundation, asante sana for making time and giving some insight on this very important discussion that touched the heart and the soul of the nation, the state of the nation, where we take a look at some of the issues and matters that really touches us and concerns you as the ordinary Kenya. Alex, asante sana for making time.
Thank you very much also for hosting me.
Right, now we are taking a very quick break. When we come back, it's all about Matter Sports.
From the hospital corridors, we bring you experts to discuss issues affecting your health, from diet to mental health. The familiar and the ignored are both put into perspective. We then dive into the environment and look at the effects of climate change and its solutions. Join me, Mutegi K. Martin, every Friday at 9 p.m. as we learn on how to better our health while taking care of our environment. Only on KUTV.
So my name is Jakub Petri. I'm Associate Professor in the Institute of Philosophy of Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Poland. And I'm the main coordinator of the CAFE project, which is being here hosted by Kenyatta University.
My name is Ewa Hudoba. I am a project manager in this consortium. Keep watching cutting edge research at Kenyatta University Television.
KUTV nilipatia mahali pa kunawiri makali yangu. KUTV imenisaidia sana, and hadi wa leo I still meet people who tell me, si wewe ulianzeaga KUTV?
Sikuamini.
Mfano kabisa ningesema hujambo mtazamaji kwa sauti, lakini wakati huu nikisema hujambo, yani inakuja na ile command. Back then, as much as it's a long time ago, they still recall.
Unakumbuka nilikuwa hapa KUTV wakati huo. Alafu simu ikaingia namba 0719. Hello, this is the Standard Group.
So it shows that visibility is definitely important. Nikilinganisha safari hizo mbili,
kuna utofauti mkubwa sana.
It was a dream come true for me.
All right, it's time for the latest update in the world of sports. Now, Enzo Maresca's side Chelsea will travel to Poland on Wednesday to face Real Betis in the Europa Conference League final, looking for their first trophy since 2021 when they won the Champions League. Now, the Blues will be looking to end the 2024-2025 season on a high note, having secured the next season's Champions League slot and winning 7 games out of 8 in the process. Chelsea topped the group stages of the tournament with a maximum of 18 points from the 6 games played, 14 places and 8 points clear of Betis. All right, so those are the latest in terms of when you talk about politics, sports, and of course business and many things in between. Very candid conversation there about the state of the nation, and we promised to deliver, and actually we chunked this very complex mathematics in a simple term for you to understand. That is what we do in the state of the nation. We promised and we delivered. And for now, we have no debt. It's time to pack and go home. Many thanks for the men and women behind the scene, and for all those who made this production a success, and for you, our esteemed viewers, for always keeping us a company in the last 1 hour or so. My good name is Auma Evans. Naomi Ombui has been our sign language interpreter tonight. Do have a lovely night, and God bless Kenya.